Hello Game fans, as compared to the stress of a survival or multiplayer game, I much prefer the chill vibes of a farming sim, which goes all the way back to Harvest Moon for me. So here's a look at the top 20 upcoming indie games in the genre. An ambitious upcoming entry is Sun Haven, a multiplayer focused title in a fantasy setting. You are able to move between the human town of Sun Haven or the monster-populated Withergate city, essentially running two operations, which is an interesting change. There are a variety of playable races, including human, elf, naga, and dog, with your usual farming, mining, fishing, cooking, crafting, and combat systems. The coolest thing about this is that all the elements have a nice duality to them, so you can grow both potatoes and magical acorns, with animals that you can raise including a frog that drops gems, a baby griffin, and more. There also appears to be a central story where the Sun Dragon detects a spark of magical potential within you, where you can then harness that to grant wishes to improve the community. Love the variety in this, and if you're interested, it is currently on Kickstarter, so go give that a look. One title which is a little lighter on the farming elements and more resembling Animal Crossing is Hokko Life, which looks absolutely pleasant, where you take over an old workshop and can use it to craft furniture and more. There is, however, a gardening aspect which looks cute, along with all the expected life sim systems, but I do love those animal villages. Couple of fresh new announcements which spurred me to make this video, the prime example of which is Potion Permit, where you play as the best chemist around and have to brew potions to cure the villagers. It looks wonderful because of the pixel art, but the theme is pleasant enough and not all that common, straying away from the formula which makes it unique. While not strictly farming per se, you do gather ingredients and may even have to fight monsters for it, but there's relationship building, fishing, and even a canine companion, so another game which gives me them warm, fuzzy feelings. The long in development Farm Folks still has not been released, despite promising an early access release originally in 2018. This developer's last update on Kickstarter was in February this year, and perhaps the pandemic has thrown a wrench into their plans, but this developer is still posting updates on Twitter, so I hope we get to play soon. The other recently announced title is Kitaria Fables, a wonderful looking action-adventure game with farming elements, where you play as a cat. Instantly sold. It's a little bit more story-focused, having you fighting against an encroaching darkness in the world, but there's farming and crafting elements, which makes it even better. Gives me some fantasy life vibes, so of course I'm down for this. Singapore-made Sushi Wildlands falls into the ranching side of things, much closer to Slime Rancher than Harvest Moon, but no less delightful. You have to capture these cute monsters and keep them on your farm, harvesting their ingredients for your sushi shop, so there's a management element as well. doesn't really make much sense in terms of gathering ingredients, but that's secondary, much like how plots in Slime Rancher needed a layer of abstraction, but another wonderfully adorable title. From one Southeast Asian developer to the next, Coral Island is a farming sim set on a tropical island, but has a much more important environmental message to tell, that of having to save the coral reefs as well. This isn't an official trailer, just simply some gameplay footage from the channel, and from the Steam page, there appears to be a skill tree for abilities, fishing, romancing characters, town improvement, mining, housing customization, and even a diving system where you can clear up the seabed. As with games in the genre, this looks very pleasant, so wishing them all the best. I've mentioned Alchemic Cutie a number of times since this pixel art wrenching game looks whimsical, set on the pleasantly named Wimba Island, where you wrangle wild jellies, enter jelly competitions, and uncover the secrets of the island. Like Potion Permit and Sushi Wildlands above, a slight departure from the formula, but one that I'm very excited about nonetheless. This is still slated for 2020 with about 3 months to go, so it's your move, developer. I love cooking in games both realistic and fantastical, so Epic Chef has my attention. This has you playing as a chef named Zest, who lands on an island and has to farm, craft, and cook his way into legend. You face off against opponents in an Iron Chef style competition, which is not as chill as regular farming games, but it looks weird, wacky, and funny. It's another Team 17 published title, and I do trust them to pick great games. Australian-themed Dinkum is of interest since it says hello from down under. The Australian outback is an interesting setting for a farming game since there are a lot more brown and red hues as compared to the lush greenery of other parts of the world. It also has its flavour of fauna from kangaroos, wombats, sharks, and more. On top of the usual farming stuff, there's also bug catching and treasure hunting, with some form of procedural generation for the islands as well. Looks awesome and cannot wait. You die on Earth in a freak accident and realize that you have been living in a simulation. Welcome to your actual life in Everafter Falls. This is a farming sim filled with cute animal villagers, and in line with some of the other games on this list, incorporates RPG and action-adventure game elements. However, I do love the look of this, with some really adorable characters and a cute art style. This developer did reach out to me and I immediately fell in love, so if you have a cool project to show off, my email is always open. If you want to talk about life being simulation and being stuck in the Matrix, Morning Star will be of interest, where it is set in a post-cyberpunk world where computers are soil and software are your seeds. Since being announced in 2018, there hasn't been any news that I could find on this, but cheers to a community member in the Discord channel for bringing this up. An awesome looking farming sim which was relatively recently revealed is Roots of Pacha, set in prehistoric times where you play as a caveman and must establish the first village in the so-called Promised Land. I'm not sure how historically accurate any of these ideas are, but let's suspend that for a bit, with the unique thing about this being that while most farming sims have you toiling away by your lonesome on the farm and interacting with a village of people, this game seems to have you actually building up that community and village, which is impressive for the scale. I do still prefer farming sims in that top-down kind of view, but the occasional first-person game can work as well, with Lonefarm being of interest. This has you running a farm on a small island in the middle of the South Pacific, with no fantastical elements and just good old farming and raising of animals. You even have to take a short drive to the nearest village to purchase seeds and to sell goods, where the vehicle even needs to be maintained. You can explore and discover the secrets of the island, or just chill out at the waterfront or people watch in town, which makes this look really relaxing. Another long in development game, Mineko's Night Market is still slated for 2020, so 3 more months to go, but this has you adventuring on an island to simply enjoy cats. The weirdest and most awesome thing about this is that you can grow cats from the ground, after which they will follow you, but it is certainly more life sim than farming sim. There's some grand conspiracy and Men in Black types wandering the island, where you're looking for the sun cat Abe. The exploration and minigames in the night market looks fun, so one more fuzzy game to that pile. I was saving Lens Island for a video just like this, having missed its Kickstarter campaign, which thankfully was successful, and is a low-poly farming and crafting game that looks impressive, especially in terms of the lighting and how the base building elements work. Something that fans of the genre may not enjoy as much is that there is an action-packed dungeon crawling element which does look like it has great looking combat and action, but is a departure from the slow pace and relaxing vibes that other games in the genre give off. However, I think that this, combined with the farming sim elements, makes it especially of interest to me. Another Kickstarter success story is the space farming sim One Lonely Outpost, set on an alien planet which you must bring to life. As a pixel art fan, the art style here is really striking and makes it stand out. It's single player only, where you start off as a solo colonist, and as you develop and grow, you will attract more NPCs to the planet. As with some titles mentioned above, I like the duality of the options available here, this time on whether or not to go organic or to genetically modify your crops and animals. There's a whole alien ruins exploration system, so not just a farming sim, and I don't think that there's a standout example in the sci-fi space as of yet, so this looks promising. Garden Story has dominated headlines when talking about cute or wholesome games, and it's no surprise that it ranks highly here. You play as the Guardian of the Grove, who has to combat the Rot, where you cultivate and restore various parts of the island as you progress. Since we last talked about it, its delay to next year has been confirmed, but I'm certainly looking forward to this. Snacko is a farming sim where you play as a cat, probably enough said at this point, but the flat 2D characters contrasted with 3D environments does look interesting. It is so frigging adorable and has you rebuilding the community with all sorts of cute animals and even teases exploration of the island and beyond. This developer has a really cute cat IRL, so go give that Twitter account a follow. When you add monster taming elements to a farming game, of course Monster Harvest will have my interest. Now that I think about it, adding monster taming elements to any genre will be interesting to me, but there's plenty of farming here on top of the turn-based combat. The vibrancy of the pixel art is a highlight, as well as customization options and the sheer variety of creatures, so for mashing together two of my favorite genres, this takes the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos, and I will see you after the jump.